Yes. What's happening, everybody? It is, oh my God. Okay. Let's try that again, man. How about a big oi for everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. It's Wednesday night. We got UFC Jacksonville coming up on Saturday. 14 fights. Great card from top to bottom. Really looking forward to talking about it. And I'm also starting a campaign. It's almost a month away, you guys. We got to cancel this Home versus Silva card. What the fuck is going on? What is the UFC doing here? So they just added a card on September 2nd. So we're supposed to be in the midst right now of a 13-week stretch of straight UFC events. And now they've stretched that out to 17 straight weeks with no breaks. And it's entirely too much. I remember last year when they did 12 straight weeks as a content creator, it was absolutely crazy. But let me share my screen with you guys here and just show you the pile of shit that they are throwing at us here for the Holm versus Bueno Silva card. That's a great main event there. Holly Holm versus Myra Bueno Silva. Your co-main event is going to be Walt Harris versus Josh Parisian. The next fight, Ashley Evans Smith versus Aylin Perez. Tyson Nam versus Azat Maxim. Jafel Filio versus the cokehead Juan Camilo Ronderos. You got Norma Dumont going up against Chelsea Chandler. Carl Deaton III going up against Alex Munoz, who we haven't seen since, I don't know, like 3 years. Guy's got 8 pro fights. The Potato Man, Atman Azaitar, going up against the guy who, flew across an ocean and then just stood in front of Jamin Malarkey and did nothing for 15 minutes. Thank you, Francisco Prado, for putting on one of the worst fights that the UFC has ever seen. Evan Elder versus Gennaro Valdez. Fun fight. Low-level fight, but very, very fun fight. Estela Nunez versus Victoria Dudakova. Okay. Duraev versus the Iron Turtle. This will be fun. If they really wanted to have fun, they'd do Elder versus Sadikov again. But yeah, Terrence McKinney versus Sadikov is going to be a fun fight. Austin Lingo versus Melchizel Costa. They're probably both cut after that. Tucker Lutz will be cut after the Bagdasarian fight. There's probably going to be, how many fights are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 fights. And they actually took the Vicente Luque versus Rafael Dos Anjos fight, which is a real fight, and they put it over to a card where people were actually going to show up. This has got to be in the Apex. Yeah, of course it's in the Apex. So yeah, this card is complete trash, and I'm making an announcement right now. I think we should cancel the card, but if we don't cancel the card, I'm not going to be working as a content creator that week. I'm not going to show up 17 weeks in a row for free and cover this card like I fucking care about it. So, no Home versus Bueno Silva card. There will be no Just the Tip. There will be no probability. I will not be appearing on the DFS show. There will be no Ask Weezy. I will be there for Stat Diggers on Sunday. But, I'm not going to be covering this trash. I don't cover Bellator. I don't cover LFA. I don't cover Cage Warriors. I don't cover PFL. And this card is not even on that level. So going to be taking the week off on this trash card, July 15th, and hashtag cancel UFC Vegas 77 or whatever this is. This is just unbelievable. So just wanted to make that announcement. Want to see that card off of this. This is the UFC. This is not LFA. I don't know what this is, but thank you guys for hanging out. Please check out the Patreon if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and feel free to ask me some questions about this card. I've got all the stats for all the fighters on this tab. Let me increase that, and We've got all the lines in the prop template here. We've got all the betting lines up. I've got all the stats ready for you guys. Let me know what you need to know, and I'll answer your questions for you. Let's see who's hanging out in the chat with us here. We got Eric D is in the room saying, "Oh, Uncle Weezy, I want a max bet on under 2.5 rounds from the main event. What do you think? I just hate parlays. I only win straight bets. Never won a parlay in my life. Yeah, I don't do well on parlays either. For the under 2.5 rounds, at minus 210 here. Let's go over here first. Topuria has been to a decision once in his career. It would appear that in his 12 fights prior to this fight, 7 of his 7 fights that were scheduled for 3 rounds pre-UFC all finished under 2.5 rounds, and 4 of his 5 UFC fights finished under 2.5 rounds. I believe the Zalal fight went all 3 rounds there. So, and you know, Topuria and Emmett both have a ton of power in their hands, and if Topuria can get the fight to the ground, he's got excellent submission grappling. So yeah, I think a lot of people are thinking that this one's going to finish inside the distance for sure, and the under 2.5 rounds is definitely not a bad look here. I wouldn't personally max bet it because this is a step up in competition, and there's another thing that's at play here. Topuria has problems making weight. And Josh Emmett did not look great on the scales the last time out. So I really want to see these guys weigh in. I want to see what they look like because they could both come in looking really good, and this fight could maybe cruise over 2.5 rounds. But Emmett's got power. Topuria's got good power and good boxing. I love the way that he goes to the body to bring the hands down and then goes up top to get the knockout. But, you know, if Topuria takes Emmett down and can't submit him, this thing could go for a while. So I do think it goes under 2.5 rounds, but I just wouldn't be max betting it myself, Eric D. But parlays are hard. I've always had problems with parlays. They piss me off quite a bit. I had a parlay last week, which was the Barcelos money line with the Christian Leroy Duncan money line. The Barcelos fight didn't even happen. It got turned into a straight bet, and I hate laying juice. I just hate laying juice because it seems like whenever I lay juice, the kind of shit like the Christian Leroy Duncan fight happens where you're like, oh wow, this guy's a superstar, you know, his kickboxing is fantastic, he's got a 7-inch reach advantage, he's the much better grappler, and then he goes out there and performs that way, you know, like with no IQ, with no understanding of how to use his physical gifts to win minutes, you know, against a very good kickboxer. Didn't even try a takedown, I think, until late in the second round when he was getting pieced up on the feet because he was throwing nothing but unorthodox, crazy techniques that never land. So, yeah, whenever I lay juice, like somebody goes out there and performs like Christian Leroy Duncan performed, and I'm left holding the ticket going, what the hell just happened? So I hate parlays too, man. I try to find 2 spots that I think that are plus EV that I don't want to lay juice on, that I can just get my exposure down to 1 unit. We got TH in the room saying, yo, Unc, fellow Chicagoan now coming to you from Sarasota, Florida. Just wanted to thank you for all the great picks and analysis. Appreciate you, TH. Let me know if you have any questions today. I'm on duty for the next couple hours here answering questions about UFC Jacksonville. Enjoy that Florida weather. I know it's summertime right now. It's probably a little bit better up here than it is down there weather-wise, but man, I got to get down south one of these days. I can't stand these Chicago winters anymore, man. We got EQ in the room going, oi! What's up, Equinemius? We got Matt Campbell in the room saying, oi! What's up, Matt? Thank you for hanging out. T-Funk saying Uncle Weezy is the man. What's up, T-Funk? Good to see you hanging out in here, brother. We've got Victor De Jesus saying, oh, yes. What's up, Weezy in chat? Happy Ricci versus Robertson fight week. Yeah, that's going to be a good fight. That is definitely the one where people are on both sides. The bets are being made. The battle lines are being drawn. I'm on Team Jillian. I think Jillian's going to get the job done there. And that is going to be a really good fight. Lots of grappling. And I think that Jillian, being the more experienced girl who's fought the better brand of competition, up a weight class most of her career. Is going to get the job done with her superior wrestling, but we'll see how it all plays out on Saturday. It's going to be a fun one. Martin Dermov, my guy in the room, saying, did you see your boy Fluffy Hernandez got booked versus Chris Curtis in September? I saw that. That is a fascinating stylistic matchup. Chris Curtis, great body work and great takedown defense. And if you can stop takedowns and you can work to the body, those are the two things that you can do to slow down Fluffy Hernandez, so he's not at his best. So that is going to be a difficult stylistic matchup for Hernandez. But if I know anything about Anthony Hernandez, he probably doesn't even know who the fuck Chris Curtis is. I mean, like, this guy literally doesn't even watch the UFC. He trains, he makes himself better, and I don't think he knows half of the guys that are even in the UFC middleweight division. So if they call him and they tell him, hey man, you want to fight? I don't think he cares who the other name is, and I think he'll sign no matter who it is. So as a matter of fact, what was I going to say? With Hernandez, the Vieira fight is totally evidence of the fact that I don't think this guy knows who the other guys are, because at the time that he took the Rodolfo Vieira fight, Rodolfo was undefeated and nobody was picking up the phone to take that fight. And Hernandez took it, and wound up beating him and really exposing him. The cardio just wasn't there. And that's what Hernandez is so good at, is that cardio, that pace, the ability to be able to take a beating, to take 2 or 3 to give 1, but then just wear his opponent down over the course of the fight. And we're going to see, because Rodolfo Vieira is not a great wrestler, right? I mean, he just isn't. And the fact that Curtis was able to stop takedowns from him, Hernandez is just going to stick to you like glue. And Hernandez actually has the cardio to push a wrestling heavy game plan for 3 rounds, which obviously, cardio is not a strong suit of Rodolfo Vieira. So I think I'm going to really have to look into that matchup, and I'm going to see where they open that line. But, I think that there's reason to like both of those guys in that fight, Martin. That is such a good fight. I'm a fan of both guys. So, but Hernandez cashed me a max bet ticket last time out versus Edmund Shabazian. So I think he can take down another boxer and fuck him up on the ground. That's what Hernandez does best. And if you watch the old tape on Chris Curtis, that's what his kryptonite is. The only guy to ever finish him via KO was Ray Cooper Jr., and he did it after taking him down and working him with ground and pound. So very interesting fight. My man Corey Mann in the room saying, "Oi, what's up, Corey?" We got T-Funk saying, "Let's go." We got D-Gen for life saying, "Oi, bag of orange beating incoming for the bookies. Let's get it, man. Let's stack them high this week." T-Funk saying, "Dog shit." I'm sure you're referring to the card that I was just talking about. Dixon Sider saying, "Prophet Weeziah, did you just hear the news that Elon Musk accepted a cage match with Mark Zuckerberg for charity? It's all over Twitter." I did not hear that. I know that Mark's been like working his jiu-jitsu game. So that would be really fun to watch. I don't know if Elon does any kind of training, but I do know that Zuckerberg is a BJJ guy. So that'll be interesting. And I wonder who the charity will be. I mean, like, it's kind of funny those two guys getting in a cage for charity, right? They could do charity whenever the fuck they want. They don't have to get into a cage. They've got so much money they can do charity whenever they want, but they're going to do it. They're going to do it for charity while they try to prove to each other which one of them is tougher. I'd like to see both of them get their asses whooped, to be honest with you. But frankly, who do you root for? Who are you guys rooting for? If it's Elon Musk versus Zuckerberg, which one of these guys do you want to see get their head punted into the 3rd row? I mean, personally, for me, it's Zuckerberg. It's got to be Zuckerberg, right? I mean, he's got that fucking wry smile on his face. I want it wiped off, but I hope they raise a lot of money for whatever charity it is that they're they're gonna fight for. That'll be a good one. We got Alex Ramirez, the general, in the room taking notes. What's up, dude? We got Matt Campbell saying literally a card of all Martians top 133 worst fighters served in the COVID era. I just saw Martian tweeted that he tweeted that he had compiled a list of the worst COVID fighters, and I remember him saying, "Who do you think is the worst on each for the men and for the women?" And I would say for the women, probably Mandy Bohm. But God, I mean, like, dude, there were some bad ones. I mean, Ramona Pasquale was absolutely horrible. You got Mandy Bohm. I mean, I'm just going off the top of my head here. And then for men, I don't know if they're counting Hunsucker because he did kind of come in. Was he before COVID, or I think he was during COVID? Hunsucker would definitely be one of the worst. And some of these heavyweights, I mean, they're just awful, So, but Hunsucker would probably be my number one on the men's side, man. We got Gogo Flamingo saying, "What's up, kids of the Wheeze Dog? What's up, Gogo? Thanks for hanging out with us today, brother." We got Corey Mann saying, "What do you think about this Prize Picks flex play?" Okay. Jalgus, Allen, and Brundage over 1.5 takedowns. So I think I've got the Prize Picks plays here. So Jalgus is set at 2.5 takedowns, but and then Brundage is at 2. Allen, so Allen, I would never count on Brendan Allen to ever get 2 takedowns in one fight. As a matter of fact, I would probably go under because you just can't count on Brendan Allen to ever wrestle. Let's look at the stats. Right. So here's Brendan Allen, and here's his takedowns. So we got 2 takedowns versus Kevin Holland, only 2 versus Kevin Holland, a guy who has been taken down by a gust of wind before, taken down by a shower that was a little bit too hot. Carl Roberson, he took down twice, who's one of the worst. And then he actually did take down Jacob Malkoon twice, but that wound up becoming such a wrestling match that, it forced Brendan Allen to wrestle. Brendan Allen never wrestles when you think he's going to wrestle. Like, for instance, against somebody like Chris Curtis, who you might want to take down because he's a boxer. 0 takedowns. And, like, it's not just that. It's the attempts, right? I mean, like, this guy has attempted 3 takedowns only twice in his career. So if he's not getting... I would never bet, because Brendan Allen's fight IQ still is a work in progress. He seems to box when he should grapple, and he seems to grapple when he should box. So because Bruno Silva has 20 knockouts in his 22 wins in his career, my prediction is that Brendan Allen's going to stand in front of him and box with him like a complete dumbass, because that's what he does every time. He never does what you think he will do. And so I don't like the Allen over 1.5 takedowns. Brundage is gonna wrestle, so 2 takedowns I think is fair for him. Jalgus, he could get 3 takedowns against Josh Van. Josh Van does not have good takedown defense, but I wouldn't bet it. And then for Ricci, I don't think she's gonna be a better wrestler than Jillian, but Jillian's got terrible takedown defense, so. And I think that's going to be a grappling match. I don't love these takedown lines at all. I think they're priced perfectly. But if you got 1.5 on Brundage, if you got 1.5 on Zhumagulov, those two look good to me. Brendan Allen might get 2 takedowns, but he would have to fight smart in order for that to happen. And he doesn't fight the way you think he's going to fight. And I don't want to call Brendan Allen like a dumb fighter, because dumb fighters... they're not 9-2 in the UFC. I mean, Brendan Allen can fucking fight. He's good. His stand-up is solid. It's UFC level, but his grappling is just next level. But he just doesn't seem to initiate it as much as I would like him to, as somebody that's trying to bet on him sometimes. So I don't think it's a bad play. But I'd be really worried about Brendan Allen getting 2 takedowns. D-Gen for life saying, I like Bueno Silva. She's got a Diaz brother vibe. She's going to beat Holm. Dude, I had a 4.5 unit bet on Myra Bueno Silva when she was supposed to fight Miesha Tate. I was like, oh, man, Misha's going to the cemetery after this one, or going to the hospital with a broken arm. But that fight didn't happen. Miesha got hurt. So they rebooked Bueno Silva versus Holm and made it a main event. Victor saying, hey, Weezy, how do you feel about the Jalgas 2.5 takedowns line on Prize Picks? I think over, considering the fight is expected to go to the distance and Vanna's bad takedown defense. Yeah, I mean, 3 is a lot to ask out of Jalgas. It is, because he hasn't been wrestling accurately. That's my problem with Jalgas, is that the takedown percentage is garbage, but I think he's going to go for these takedowns. And with with Van, you got a guy who's not very active in terms of stopping takedowns. So this is Zhumagulov's takedowns. He's never gotten 3 in a UFC fight, but he's also never fought Joshua Van. He attempted 13 takedowns in this fight, which was the Molina fight, and he attempted 11 in the Paiva fight. But, prior to that, he's out there against Bogatinov, Ulanbekov, Nam, Shaghak, Asatryan, a bunch of guys wrestling the shit out of these people. So, he should be able to get it, but it seems a lot. It seems like a big number. It seems like a big ask to get 3 takedowns. But I think he can get 1 in each round if it does go the distance. So, yeah. We'll see. Victor. I don't love it. I don't love it. We got Christian Jenkins in the room saying, what's poppin', Weezy? What you cooking up on Prize Picks this week? So my favorite play on Prize Picks is the significant strikes for Trevor Peek at 30.5. And here's why. Trevor Peek is not really like a one-punch knockout power type of guy. He's more of a volume guy. He never fucks off. He's constantly moving forward. But I don't know if you can see this number here, but this is the offensive distance striking stats that we're on. 14.61. Trevor Peek landed 14.61 distance strikes per minute spent at distance in his debut against Eric the Ghost Pepper Gonzalez. So he landed 51 significant strikes in the Gonzalez fight, a fight where he was taken down 4 times and controlled for almost half the round. And in those 4 minutes and 59 seconds, he landed 51 significant strikes. Against Malik Lewis, he landed 65 significant strikes, if you could see that right here. And that was in 7.5 minutes. So Trevor Peek's a volume monster. So I kind of feel like over 30.5 significant strikes is a good look. Also, Tatsuro Taira over 25.5 significant strikes, I think is a solid play as well. The thing is Tatsuro doesn't land a lot, which is why the number is so low. You can see here that he's landing 2.79 significant strikes per minute, but he lands 4.22 significant strikes per minute at distance. So if this fight does stay on the feet for 3-4 minute stretches, you might pile up 12 to 15 significant strikes in that time from Taira. And as long as he doesn't go out there and submit Clayton, or if Clayton can stop a takedown or two and keep this fight on the feet, Clayton's very high volume. On the feet, Clayton is landing 5.94 significant strikes per minute. But look at this. He's landing 9.39 distance strikes per minute. Now, the problem is that he kicked Shannon Ross's ass. So obviously that's a little bit skewed. But when Clayton's at distance, he's very high volume. So he's going to bring the volume out of Taira. So if Taira's not going out there and getting takedowns right away, at this number of 4.22 distance strikes landed per minute, you would figure at 4.22 per minute, you would need about 6 minutes at distance to cover that. I think that this fight might take place at distance for 6 minutes. I kind of feel like it does go over. And Tatsuro can land shots in the clinch and on the ground as well, where you see the output for him there is 2.32 clinch and ground striking strikes landed per minute. So even in, a 2-minute stretch on the ground, you might see him land 5 significant strikes. So I do like the Tyra over as well. It's a low bar to be set there. So even if there's a couple of good flurries early in the fight, you're gonna be halfway there. I don't like these takedown numbers, you guys. I think they're all just a little bit high, and I'm going to be staying away from those. In terms of fantasy score, I'd like to find some guys that are going to be stuffing takedowns. Shalgus. That's a high total on Cody Brundage, man. 93.5 fantasy points is a big ask. Same thing with Allen. Magni, 80 points in a decision win. He needs 60 points in 15 minutes. He's a guy that could do that. Let's do this. We're going to do Cody Brundage, less than 93.5. We're going to do Trevor Peak, more than 30.5 significant strikes. And we're going to do Tatsuro Taira, more than 25.5. $20 wins you 100. 100 wins you 500. That's the play that we're going to do this week. $1 wins you $5. So that's what we're going to do, Christian Jenkins. We're going to do less than 93.5 fantasy points for Cody Brundage, more than 30.5 significant strikes for Trevor Peak, and more than 25.5 significant strikes for Tatsuro Taira. Thank you for the question, Christian. We got T-Funk in the room saying, forget that trash. Let's get to this week. Exciting card. You got that right, man. This is number one bullshit, says Kid Kick. Love that. I love that that Habib vibe there, man. It's awesome. We got Gogo Flamingo saying, the almighty YouTube algorithm hates it when you don't upload. Well, the great thing is that I don't make shit from YouTube, so they can eat my ass for a week and not have me providing our YouTube revenue for them. So yeah, dude, and plus 17 straight weeks of UFC cards as a content creator is literally bonkers. Asking that of us is too much, and frankly, I'm trying to build some products, and I can't do it when I'm breaking down 14 ass fights on July 15th, man. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, the YouTube's algorithm is just going to have to hate me. And we got Kid Kick in the room saying, "Oh, what's up, dude?" We got T-Funk saying, "Turman going back down. I'm on him as a dog. Thoughts? Is he going back down? Has he ever fought at 170 before?" Let me look and see. I don't remember Wellington Turman ever fighting at 170. So the first UFC fight was a middleweight fight. Marcio Alexandre, middleweight. Rafael Atilio, middleweight. Rodrigo Jesus, middleweight. He fought Carlton Harris. That was a welterweight fight. Okay. So he was a welterweight back in 2017. That's how long it's been. So back now it's 2023, 6 years later, he's moving back down to welterweight. Definitely want to see him on the scales, T-Funk. That's the thing I got to look at here, because you need to know how he looks. And if he goes in there and he's in that group that's like weighing in and he looks good on the scale, I don't have a problem with it. I think he's going to grapple Randy Brown. I think he's going to push Randy Brown into the kind of fight that makes him very uncomfortable. And we know that Wellington Turman's legit on the ground. And if he can out wrestle Randy Brown as well, that would be a great way to win minutes. However, the problem is that Randy Brown's so damn tall. It's hard to take those tall dudes down, man. They always find a base. They always get back up, and he's got those long legs where he can kind of hunt for submissions and get chokes from angles that other people can't. So I would really wait to see Turman on the scales. And then if your stylistic read, T-Funk, is that you think, Turman's got a good path here and that the price is too cheap, you see him look good on that scale, that's when you pull the trigger. My guy, the general in here, taking notes. What's up, dude? We got Terry Mizzo saying, Uncle Weezy, would you be shocked if Macy ran through Hebas? I haven't seen Macy Barber run through anybody for a minute. She had a really good performance. I would be a little bit shocked if I'm being honest with you. Yeah. But I'm a believer in Macy Barber. I think that she's tough. Good performance against Jessica I. Love the performance against Montana De La Rosa. She lost that Maverick fight. She lost to the champ Alexa Grasso. The Andrea Lee fight was a close fight. But Hebas is no joke. I could see maybe Barber getting a knockout because we've seen Hebas beat Shinny in the past, but that was at 115. Now that she's not cutting as much weight, she might be a little more durable. But I do see that, when she absorbs a big shot, you can see it that she doesn't absorb it as well as some of the other ladies in the weight class. So I think that Barber is just going to be kind of swinging for the fences. You look at the volume here difference. Amanda Hebas landing almost 7 distance strikes per minute at distance and attempting 17.73. So you see a lot of green here, a lot of above average stats, but the volume is quite below average here for Macy Barber. So I think it's going to kind of be minute winning with volume against the power and the clinch game of Macy Barber. And I think Macy's going to try to have to get this into the clinch. And if she does, Amanda, with that judo background, is going to be able to get some takedowns from there. And then if she gets on top of Macy, that's going to be a problem for Macy. I'm picking Hebas to win. I would be a little bit shocked if Macy ran through Hebas, but I'm thinking that maybe Barber's best win condition is the knockout. But she could also win minutes in the clinch or just be like land 2 of the biggest shots in the fight in 2 of the rounds and win it on damage. But, there's a lot of different ways this one can go. This is a pretty high level fight here at women's flyweight, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm picking Hebas, but Barber by KO, if I could get it at like plus 500, might be something I sprinkle a little bit this week. My guy J-Bone is in the room saying, let's go, Weezy. Watch until I pass out tonight. Let's see how long we can keep you up, my man. We got TNT in the room saying, oi! Got the Wile E. Coyote there with the old plunger about to blow up the Roadrunner. That's good stuff, man. T-Funk saying, also got Magnum at minus 130. Scared everyone is on him now. Seems like a public favorite. He's getting juiced up. Magnum? Who's Magnum? Magni? You got Magni at minus 130. I like Magni. That fast. If you're talking about Neil Magni, that's you guys, level of competition is huge. It's such a big part of this sport because, for instance, last week, Dennis Bondar, there wasn't anything on tape that I saw from Carlos Hernandez that told me that, he was going to run through Bondar like a hot knife through butter. But what I saw on tape from Bondar was him looking impressive against guys that I could kick their fucking asses. So if I'm kicking your ass, you don't belong in the UFC, and I would throw those dudes over the fucking cage. Gennady Gitlin can come get some if he fucking wants some. I'm not impressed with the level of competition that he's faced. And when you step up, you find out. That's when it's like that old graph, the fuck around, find out. The more you fuck around, the more you find out. Well, the more you fucking go up that ladder in this sport, that's when you find out what you're made of. What happens when that first big shot that lands, the guy doesn't fuck off and fall down? What happens then? Are you mentally prepared to get into a fight when you're used to being the one winning all the time, and then all of a sudden the tide starts turning, and now all of a sudden you're like, this guy's never going to fuck off. He's never going to stop. You find that out when you come up to this level. So when it comes to level of competition, and you see Phil Rowe being in there with Nico Price, who is past his prime. I'm a big Nico Price fan. Guy's always in exciting fights, but dude, he's past his prime. Okay. Orion Cosey is so injured. I mean, like the fact that Cosey dog walked him for a round, Phil Rowe. Before that, he knocks out Jason Witt. And even Jason Witt is taking this guy down and winning minutes on the ground against him. Gabe Green. Gabe Green should have finished Phil Rowe. Gabe Green. So Magni's a guy who's got 20 UFC wins, everybody. 20. Okay? Look at all those guys that he's beaten. These are all guys who would be favorites against Phil Rowe. I love Magni at -130. You cannot get him anywhere near there. I think he's definitely the side this week. And we're going to find out a lot about what Phil Rowe's ceiling is on Saturday, because if he can fight close with Neil Magny, that means a lot to me, because Neil Magny is an absolute stud. One of the hardest things to be in this sport is active. It really is. There's injuries, there's life, there's personal problems, there's, bad luck with your opponent getting injured in fight week and stuff like that. But look at Neil Magny. Dude, you can't even get all the fights on one screen, dude. John Manley, Sergio Mahais, Seth Bashinsky, all in 2013. Ghassan Umalatov, Tim Means, Rodrigo de Lima, Alex Garcia, William Macario. He fought 5 times in 2014. Kunamoto, Hyungu Lim, Damian Maya, Eric Silva, Calvin Gastelum. He fought 5 times in 2015. Hector Lombard, Lorenz Larkin, Johnny Hendricks, 3 fights in 2016. He fought Rafael Dos Anjos and Carlos Condit in 2017. Craig White and Santiago Ponzinibbio in 2018. Didn't fight in 2019, but he had 3 fights in 2020, 2 fights in 2021, 3 fights in 2022, and this will be his 2nd fight in 2023. Phil Rowe was saying, he was surprised that Magny took the fight. He took the fight first. He accepted it. I don't know if we're cool. Who's Neil Magny not taking a fight against? Dude, they called up and they said, you want to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov? And he said, yes. They called up and they said, you want to fight Gilbert Burns? And he said, yes. Jeff Neal, yes. Michael Chiesa, yes. Robbie Lawler, yes. Li Jingliang, yes. Santiago Ponzinibbio, yes. Carlos Condit, yes. Dos Anjos, yes. Former champion Johnny Hendricks, yes. Lorenzo Larkin hits like a truck, yes. Juicehead Hector Lombard in 2016, yes. I mean, come on, dude. This guy fights everybody. Look at the wins. I mean, there's Daniel Rodriguez, Max Griffin, Jeff Neal, Robbie Lawler, Anthony Rocco Martin, Li Jingling, Craig White, Condit, Hendricks, Lombard, Gastelum, Eric Silva. Goes on a 7-fight win streak over Lim, Kunamoto, Macario, Garcia, De Lima, Means, Amolatov. I mean, yeah, man, I'm on the Neil Magny train this week. Yeah, and you said Magny. There we go. Curtis is going to sleep Hernandez, not to the head, to the body. You can't sleep Anthony Hernandez to the head. They don't let you bring a 2x4 or a hammer into the cage anymore. They don't let you put the Stinga on your glove, like the barbed wire piece. They don't let you do that anymore. He could sleep. He's not going to sleep, but nobody's going to sleep Anthony Hernandez. He might be down on the ground gasping for air from a nasty body shot, but he's not getting knocked out by Chris Curtis. Not to the head, maybe to the body. Very likely to the body, actually. I heard D saying, huge line movement versus the Corey Umar fight. What do you think about that fight? Yeah, I think it's going to be Umar. I mean, I think Corey I think Corey's probably in a place right now where they told him they'd give him a bunch of money to take the fight. Nobody wants to fight this guy, Umar, and I think that it's going to be a good fight. Corey Sandhagen is going to be a great opponent for him. I'm really looking forward to watching that because they're both so high level. I've got a ton of respect for Corey Sandhagen, and none of it has to do with him having the balls to take this fight. It's everything that I've seen from him in the past. So such a good fight. Really looking forward to it, but I don't even know where the line is. Help me out with where the line is, Eric. Next week card is really great. I already bet on Guram and Rinat. Yeah, Rinat Fakhretdinov is fighting Kevin Lee, and that is going to be a spot. I'm going to be looking to get on Kevin Lee because Kevin Lee, it's another level of competition thing, man. It's just a complete, these guys have not fought the same level of competition, dude. Not even close. So I think that we're going to find out how good Rinat's wrestling is. I think it's very good. I love what I've seen from Rinat in the cage, but it's a show me spot against a guy like Kevin Lee. And it's another thing, too, because there's the narrative things. I know that there's a very good possibility that Kevin Lee is done, that he's done. But if he's not done, I think he can out-wrestle Rinat Fakhretdinov. Kevin Lee has never shied away from a wrestling match. So very interesting fight. Really looking forward to seeing Kevin Lee back in there. It'll be interesting. And Guram, that's probably a ticket that's not going to cash, and not because Guram's going to lose, probably because Guram's not going to make it to the scale. I hope he does. I hope it's not until 2025 that we see Guram again, but we'll see. The guy can't fight. He just can't get to the cage. How do I pay you this money? Counter offer. Would you settle for a new Patreon member? Yes. Yes, I would. You don't have to pay me shit, Gogo. You join the Patreon. We're good, brother. Giga Chad saying soy Zuckerberg. Yeah. He does do jiu-jitsu, though. He does do jiu-jitsu, but we'll see, man. That would be I did not see that on Twitter. I don't know how I missed it, but I guess I have had Twitter off most of the day today. I'm almost done with the content for the week, and I'm tired. I'm tired, you guys. So that's probably how I missed it. But man, that would be funny. Zuck, 100%. We need to kill whatever species he is before they finish taking over. Oh man. Remember Zuckerberg running out the Apex with his girl? Elon needs to throw him a beating for that stunt. Yeah, I don't know what Elon's got, though. Does Elon got hands? Does he got wrestling? And what does he got? What kind of a fight is this going to be? Because if somebody's got jiu-jitsu, they got a pretty decent chance. It's not a street fight, where you might go for a guillotine and then get your head stomped in by one of the guy's buddies, So we'll see how that goes, man. Oh, Martin Sano was number one, and Na Liang, dude, I'm gonna fuck Martian up. Na Liang, no. She ain't the worst. No. God damn it, Martian. God damn it. I'm calling Brady. I'm fucking getting him on the horn. Where the fuck is Brady? Brady, did you fucking hear what Martian said? Huh? You gonna fucking let him talk like that? Martin Sano's a great call, though. I'm with him on Martin Sano. Oh my God. The guy who got on the card. And remember, he wouldn't even shake Semmelberger's hand. That was like, what? He slept him. Dude, he feinted a body kick, and Sano completely covered up. Oh my God. Zuckerberg via foot stomps. That would be funny. Terry Mizzo saying hot shower takedowns plus money. Yeah, dude. For sure, dude. Did you go over prize picks already, Weezy? Yeah, we were taking a look. Yeah. The play that I put in is I think 93.5 for Cody Brundage is a very high fantasy score. So we're going to go less than 93.5 for Cody Brundage. Love the more than 30.5 significant strikes for Trevor Peak. And I like the Topuria over 25.5 significant strikes. $1, J-Bone, is going to win you $5. And then you could take that $5 down to the corner store, say, give me a candy bar, and I'll pay you the other $8 next week. Thanks, Joe Biden. And by the way, in order to help out with inflation, my guy Corey Mann in here with $1. Ring a ding ding. Thank you for the donation, Corey. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you so much for the donation. Keeping the lights on here in your Uncle Weezy studio. Matt Campbell saying, Brendan Allen and Jamal Emmers have the same missing screws up top. Yeah, they just don't fight how you think they're going to fight. Now, Emmers is really gifted athletically, and I think I think Emmers is a fantastic fighter. He's got all the tools that you want in the toolbox for a mixed martial artist, right? Good cardio, good size and length for the division, solid striking that's got some power that can get some respect, good wrestling, good grappling. He's got it all, man. He just does dumb shit. And, that athleticism will get you a long way on the regional scene, but once you get up to this level, you start to fight some technical guys who can take advantage of the things that you don't do well. And that's all of a sudden when you start to see, these you see the holes appear and you didn't know that they were there until they're there, until, Emmer starts going for that footlock on Sabatini, and you're like, you just knocked this black belt down. This guy, he would fake a knockdown just to get you to go to the ground with him, and you fell for it. And then you wound up, and then what happens? Gets his knee torn up and he has to take 18 months off, Jamal Emmers, after that Sabatini fight. That bad decision cost him really badly, Aaron Little saying, poor Zhalgas. I'll never forget him fighting Holly and Paiva, outlanding him, out-controlling him, out-wrestling him, taking 2 nut shots and still losing on the cards. I remember that. I remember taping that fight for 2 times ago, which was just less than a month ago, Zhalgas was supposed to fight. I remember taping that fight. And I remember going, after the fight was over, I was like, wait, did Zhalgas win this fight? He won that fight, And I was like, oh, yeah, it was the first time he got robbed, dude. That was a bullshit decision. No way Paiva won that fight. So that was really dumb. That was a really dumb decision. Jeff Molina was walking away from the referee when they were reading the 3rd scorecard because he thought he lost. And then he came running back, And then the Charles Johnson fight, and Charles Johnson was on one leg for the first third of the 3rd round, and still, wound up getting that round on the judges' scorecards. Really bizarre shit. My guy Daz saying, oi, 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 good card, very good card. This is an excellent card from top to bottom. This is what happens when the UFC travels and when they have to put their best foot forward because they're, they got this ABC deal, with the ESPN and ABC or the all Disney Corporation, but when they put these on mainstream TV, they're trying to get new fans, and they can put together cards like this every other week if they wanted to. 14 fight cards with bangers from the very first fight to the 14th fight. But the profit motive, is putting this into a place where they're diluting it, and we only get one card like this, a month, and it's usually a pay-per-view. But this one, it's not a pay-per-view. It's just the UFC on ABC card, and it's a banger. It's an absolute banger. And my guy Corey Mann saying, okay, I forgot them. I got them all at 1.5 and flexed it. Thanks. Good. At 1.5, they're all good lines. But I'm worried, like I said, I worry about Brendan Allen having to do the right thing. But those are with Zhalgas, I think you're going to be good. And with Cody Brundage, I think you're definitely going to be good. T-Funk saying, struggling to pull the trigger on Macy Barber, but plus 170 is a great price. Yeah, and I mean, we've seen her lose fights that she got her hand raised. So, and we've seen, I thought Hebas beat Chukagian, but that was a close fight. It was a very close fight. Chuk did the much better work on the feet. But yeah, You might get there. You might get there. I don't think I'm going to get to the Macy Barber money line this week, but I might take a small shot. Or you know what I'm going to do? T-Funk, how about this, right? Macy Barber's very durable. There is no quitting this girl. She's gritty. How about a finish only prop at plus 110? Can I interest you in that? Because I don't think Amanda Hebos is finishing Macy Barber, but if Macy touches that chin, Hebos might get knocked out. And if that's the case, I think that's a really safe way to play that one. Macy Barber, finish only. That way, if she does lose by decision and gets out-volumed, you get your money back. So I think that's probably the best way to play that fight. Matt Campbell saying, is Prize Picks pretty legit? I see a lot more people using it, and it's legal in Cali. I might give it a shot. Dude, it's great. It's great. And I'm trying to build a product right now that will use all the data that I have in order to break down these fights data-wise in terms of the significant strike totals that are posted, the takedown totals, and go by industry benchmarks, go by what the two fighters, like for instance, like Tatsuro Taira, 25 and a half significant strikes. We'll be saying what percentage of Taira's fights take place at distance striking range and how many significant strikes he lands per minute there. What percent of his fights take place in control time positions, how many strikes he's landing there. And then we look at the defense of his opponent, put that data into the pool as well, and then come up with like an expected value. And then what we can also do is, because I have, let me see if I can figure this one out for you guys. Do I have it? Yeah. So I've got my Prize Picks analytics. This is my spreadsheet for the Prize Picks analytics. And for instance, like we can blow this up here. And I've got all the benchmarks. This is all 266 fights that have taken place in the women's strawweight division. So we know that the average fighter is landing 0.1 knockdowns per 15 minutes, 4.08 significant strikes per 15 minutes, attempting 9.3. That's the average accuracy. Here are the distance rates. Here are the control time rates, percentages, and we can compare them against the benchmarks. And then, because we also have every fight that's ever taken place in the women's strawweight division, we can also say, well, how many times has the winning fighter scored more than 23 significant strikes? How many times has the losing fighter scored more than that? So that we could also find benchmarks for the division for how many times fighters have went over or under that. And I mean, think about it, right? It's 266 fights. So that's 532 fighters, So now we have a 532 fighter sample size, and we can determine how many times out of 532 somebody has landed more than 22 significant strikes in a fight. It'll give us all the information that we need data-wise to take a closer look at the stylistic conditions of the fight too. And I think with those data benchmarks to look at, we're going to be able to pick out the best Prize Picks lines. So I think that Prize Picks is very legit. Underdog Fantasy also has a very good product. I've just got to program a little bit of I got to do some programming over here to the right of all the stats. Like I've got a DraftKings work rate, I've got a FanDuel work rate, I've got a Prize Picks work rate, but I'm also going to have to do Underdog, and then I'm also going to have to compute fantasy scores, and then just figure it out from there. The significant strikes, all the stuff, get the benchmarks, then feed that into another spreadsheet. So I'm really looking to do a lot more work with Prize Picks going forward, because I've had very good luck and I've been winning a lot of money on that site because I'm a data guy and because I can compare all of the benchmarks that I have to what they're offering, and because I'm already analyzing all the fights anyway by watching tape and doing, write-ups on them. It's a natural progression. It's the next natural step to take to continue stacking these things like flapjacks. So we got TH saying, since Dumas gave up against Friend, how do you feel about him versus Brundage? Yeah, it was another situation. I mean, I don't know what the hell he was doing there, but he was on an interview with Mills on Fight Week, or maybe the week before, and he smoked like 5 blunts during the interview. Maybe the guy's not taking his training very seriously, you know? Like, for instance, if people are like, hey, man, you're going to go fight Mark Zuckerberg, you know, a month from now for charity, you know, I don't want to get my ass whooped by that fucking loser, right? So I'm going to go train. I'm going to go fucking, I'm going to stop smoking pot for a couple of weeks. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to start running. I want to perform well, you know? And I'm sure he was, training, but like, shouldn't be fucking smoking 5 blunts a day or even just 5 blunts during an interview, you know, on fight week or the week before fight week. So I don't know what to think of this guy, dumbass. I don't know if he's in the pool neck deep or not. You know, I know Cody is. You know, I know Cody's out there fighting for his family. He's got a wife at home. He's got a special needs daughter at home. You know, he's trying to do this for a living, and he's training with top-notch dudes over there at Factory X. And I know that Cody Brundage is going in there with his head right, you know, ready to go. I know that he's been making the sacrifices. Cedriquez, I don't know. We're going to have to find out. The guy is supremely talented. You watch the tape on the guy. He's fast. He's explosive. He's athletic, very flexible. His kicks are nasty. So Cody's got his work cut out for him. But Cedriquez showed us, you know, that he can quit. Because that's what that was. That was a quit job. That choke wasn't even in yet. And he knew, he said, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. This kid's not going to fuck off like everybody else fucked off. And that's why strength of schedule is such an important capping tool. Matthew Chalk is in the room saying, Weezy, besides Peak, who would have been your second favorite pick? Sorry if you already answered. I think I did already answer that for prize picks, but in terms of, yeah, because I got for the prize picks plays here in terms of the ass shaving of the week, it was Peak. He's my most confident pick. That I don't really know who it would have been after that. I really don't. I like Magni quite a bit this week. I like Robertson. I might get to a money line bet on her if that line keeps going. And I really like Tyra. I could even see Max betting Tyra at like minus 250 or better. As far as saying, yo, Unc, what's up? Thoughts on the fight to go the distance for Barber Hebas at minus 186. I think this should be minus 285 or worse. Minus 186. That is cheap. So 61% of flyweight fights go the distance. You're paying 65%. 5 of Hebas's 8 fights have went to decision, and 6 of 9 for Barber. So 65% of their fights have went to decision, and 65% is the price of the line. So I'd say it's pretty good. I'd say that's a pretty good line because usually you have to overpay for women's overs. So I don't mind that. The prop template likes the data just a little bit better on the other side, but these are fairly priced lines on both sides, and I think it does go the distance as well. But I worry about Hebas's chin, and potentially, I mean, I could even see Hebas getting a submission. So I don't think it would be something I'd bet on, but I think it cashes. And thoughts on the over under 1.5 for Alan Silva. Over 160, under 126. I think one takedown and Silva is done. So I bet the under 1.5 rounds in that fight. Got it at plus 126. 37% implied. 37% of fights go under 1.5 rounds in the middleweight division. We're paying 44%, but 53% of their 17 UFC fights. So 9 of 17 have went under 1.5 rounds. We're only paying 44% on the line. I would call that a very fairly priced line. And stylistically, I think that Silva can knock out Brendan Allen. And I think Brendan Allen can submit Bruno Silva. So I like that under 1.5 rounds at plus 126, and I bet it for 1 unit. Justin J is in the room saying, Oi, howdy, Uncle Weezy. Greetings, chat. What's up, Justin? Let me know if you have any questions. We got Antonio saying the line for fight to go the distance for the Magni Rowe fight is kind of weird to me. Yes, minus 146. No, plus 110. I think no should be the favorite. That makes two of us, my friend, because it's at plus 125 right now on Bet Online. That is a trifecta bet. They're all underpriced when all the metric comparisons are underpriced. So I bet it. I've got it at plus 115. I've got one unit on the fight to not go to decision for Magni versus Rowe. I think Magni can absolutely break Philip Rowe late in this fight. And I'm also going to be betting a small amount on Neil Magny to win by a third round submission at plus 4,000. I think this fight finishes inside the distance. Philip Rowe's got bricks for hands. He knocks dudes out. Neil Magny's been knocked out before. And if Magny gets this fight to the ground, I think that, he's going to probably try to get to Philip Rowe's back, maybe land some good elbows. I think he can get him out of there. And I think that Rowe, like I say, that the level of competition that he's faced is not good. So, this step up, when you get that step up and you realize you don't have a chance, sometimes you look for the way out. So we're going to see if Rowe looks for a way out here. I think he will. And I bet the fight doesn't go to decision because of that. Yes, that's right. Gennady Gitlin, the fantastic pretzel vendor, one of the best in all of the Ukraine. Aaron Little, what's up? Thanks for hanging out with us. We got Subhuman Gaucho saying, Hola, Weezelito. Was wondering if you're looking forward to any spread bets this weekend. Still figuring these out. Have had decent success. I heard one was the Jack Jenkins spread bet, minus 3.5 at like minus 140, minus 150. I think that's a good look. But I don't do the spread bets because it's now I have to worry about the judges, right? I mean, the thought of betting on somebody that won, but then they didn't cover the spread, because the judges suck. I don't even play with those spread lines because they rely entirely on the judges' scorecards. When if you're betting a money line, you got that finish possibility too, where the judges won't get involved, and then there's always the possibility that the judges will get it right too. When you hear that scroll button initiated, you're about to get hit with some knowledge. Yeah, man, you can hear it here in the background for sure. We got the Golden Octagon saying, "Oi, any idea what the Brundage sub prop will drop? What will drop on DraftKings or FanDuel?" That's a good question. Let's see where it's at here with the people that originate these markets. Here, let's do this first. Log out. Okay. There it is. The sub, what do they got? They got sub at plus 160, which is so bad. It'll probably be around plus 250 at FanDuel at least. But with Brundage being minus 180, that's like a 63% implied probability. And they got, I don't know, man. I think Brundage by knockout is probably just as likely as Brundage by submission. I wouldn't touch Brundage by submission for like less than like plus 300 or something, man. This is a weird week, dude. It's a very weird week. Jeff saying, my friend just had to come over with one of those things unclogged like 50 feet down into my pipes. Glad that nightmare is over. Nice to have friends that will help out in exchange for cheeseburgers. Yeah, man, it is. Especially when they got the kind of tools that you don't have in order to be able to do that kind of work, because you're not getting 50 feet down into your pipes with your arms. So, yeah, you're going to need some help with that, man. I'm glad it all worked out for you, Jeff. We got Victor saying, oh, man, I'm excited about Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov. I'll be there live. They added some firefights to that card, too. That's going to be a fun one, man, for sure. Jorge is saying that Kevin Lee will get obliterated. Yeah, we'll find out. Because, the last fight was against Diego Sanchez and Eagle, and it's hard to know where Kevin Lee's at. But if he's still, in prime condition, we'll find out. But yeah, laying money on Kevin Lee at this point in his career, I think I would need to see him show me something, because he could be past it. It's potential that the potential for that is there, but I think Kevin Lee is still pretty young. Professor Chaos is in the room saying, "Hey, Weezy, speaking of Kevin Lee, whatever happened to Gregor Gillespie? Always thought he should cut to 145. Oh, dude, Gregor Gillespie ain't cutting it. He ain't cutting weight, dude. That guy, he's a very gifted wrestler, very gifted fighter who just doesn't enjoy it. He doesn't enjoy it. So I think that the UFC has offered him several fights, and Gregor Gillespie has said that I've turned them all down. I just don't think you gotta want to do this. You have to want to do this job. It's not just something you show up for, and do it half-assed, because otherwise you wind up like Martin Sano. No, Gillespie doesn't like fighting enough to fucking try to cut down to 145 now, instead of 155. Yeah, I think he might be done. I think Gregor might be done. And I think Gregor is fine with that, and that's all that matters. I've loved watching Gregor fight, but yeah, Kevin Lee knocking out Gregor Gillespie was something that I did not see coming. And Jorge is saying Sandhagen easily highest IQ in MMA. He's a pasty ass white boy spanking savages. Yeah, dude, I love Sandhagen, dude. I always remember that fight against Yuri Alcantara, where Alcantara had his arm bent the wrong way, and he didn't tap. He got out of that arm bar. His arm was clearly compromised, and then he just started putting it on Yuri, putting it on him, and he's beating him with the arm that was in the arm bar, just beating the shit out of him with ground and pound. It was such an amazing performance by Corey. He made a fan out of me that day, and I'm still a fan to this day. Can't wait to see him fight Umar. The balls on that dude to sign on the dotted line to fight that guy, man. God bless him, dude. That's all I got to say. God bless. Rouse is saying, "Oi, Weezy, can you give all the stats why you think the Allen Silva fight could finish under 1.5? The prize picks line is at 9.75. I think both of their strengths are their opponent's weaknesses." Yeah, we just talked about that. So yeah, you already saw all the stats. I agree with that. I bet it, I'll just bring it up again. 6 of 11 Brendan Allen fights in the UFC have finished under 1.5 rounds. 3 of 6 for Bruno Silva, 53%. The line is priced at 44.25. Yeah, and maybe we can. Brendan Allen. Wait, what happened? Why won't it let me add any? Really? Oh, no. Okay, it did. Oh, shit. It just. All right, so Brundage, Tyra, and then we got to get that peak significant strikes in there again. So now we got a 4-leg play. Brundage, less than 93.5. But I don't love that, because if Cedriquez quits again, Brundage will get over 93.5. Tatsuro Taira, 25.5 significant strikes. Brendan Allen, less than 9.75 minutes. And Trevor Peak, more than 100. And now $1 will win you 10, ladies and gentlemen. 10. That's huge. So, yeah, I'm with you, Rouses. I like the under 1.5 there. I bet it. And I think that 9.75 minutes is a great prize picks play as well. Gogo saying Topuria props are juiced to the gills. I like him to win in round 1, 2, or 3 by sub, but the numbers are sketchy. Yeah, when the line gets out of hand, man, the props get out of hand too. So I don't like betting those kind of lines, man. We got Gogo saying Onama by KO in round 1 and 2 at plus 600. Got to be worth a sprinkle. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. The thing is that neither one of these guys has ever been finished. So I'm waiting to see where those lines go. They're both very durable guys. And ring a ding, you guys. My guy Jeff K, $19.99 donation. Appreciate you. This guy bought his friend's hamburgers. They helped him unclog his pipes. And now he's sitting here getting advice from his Uncle Weezy. Appreciate you, man. Love keeping the lights on here in the studio, and it's donations like this. And it's people joining the Patreon that make that happen. Let's get the other banner up here. I want that one up there back again. So, okay. Let's get on to the next question, which was Smokestack is in the room. Is Emmer's Luke Duncan on showing off? Emmer's Luke I don't know Luke Duncan. You talking about Christian Leroy Duncan? Like Duncan on showing off. Yeah, Emmers is bad fight IQ. I think that's what they have in common, is that Duncan showed really piss poor fight IQ against Petrosian, and that Jamal Emmers has shown piss poor fight IQ when he fought Giga Chikadze and when he fought Pat Sabatini. So yeah, he kind of like takes himself to places where he should not be. And those kind of guys, you just don't lay juice on them. That's why I can't get to an Emmers bet here, and I'm thinking about betting Jack Jenkins because, I don't think Emmers makes good choices. And Jack Jenkins is a guy that, is good everywhere, and that I think he's going to try to find Emmers' weak spot. And it's not easy to find it because Emmers is so athletic and so talented, but just having a good game plan against Emmers, like Santino DeFranco says it all the time, that what he tells his fighters is it's not always the best fighter that's going to win the fight. It's the guy who fucks up first that's going to lose. And Jamal Emmers is the guy who fucks up first, and so that's why you can't really lay juice on that guy. Yeah, and Noah Allen is saying ZZ Top should be 3-2. I mean, he absolutely should be. We got Gogo saying, what's your underdog pick of the week? And do you have one or two parlay suggestions? So right now, Peak's an underdog. So I've got Peak as the ass shaving of the week. I think he's minus 108. I don't know. That's a very close one. Jillian Robertson's an underdog. That would be probably my underdog pick of the week this week is Jillian Robertson to get the job done. Like I said, I think it's a massive step up in competition for Tabitha Ricci. I wouldn't touch Clayton this week, and I think that Jack Jenkins at plus 180 is not a bad look at all. I think he can win minutes. Bruno Silva by knockout. I think that's his win condition. Silva by KO at plus 300 over here on DraftKings, I think is a decent look. Wouldn't touch Austin Lane. I'd be hesitant on Onama. Yeah, we'll go with Trevor Peak at even money, and we'll go with Jillian Robertson as my dog pick of the week. And one or two parlay suggestions. You can parlay Tatsuro Taira's money line. I think you can parlay it with Neil Magni, to be honest with you. I love Magni's price this week. I think that price is dirt cheap. You could do like, if you want to put a couple juicy legs in there, like Lane Taffa fight doesn't go to decision. Maybe a Brendan Allen, Bruno Silva under 2.5 could be a parlay piece. I like the Magni money line. I think Emmers Jenkins goes the distance. Those would be the parlay pieces that I like. I like Tyra's money line, Magni's money line would probably be the two things that I would parlay this week. I really appreciate everything you're doing and the amazing feedback. Thanks. Thank you, Matt, for joining the Patreon, for being here. I appreciate all of you guys. It's the Patreon people that keep this content going. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do this. Ben Katie's in the room saying, Weezy, thoughts on Verdum versus Dos Santos in their bare knuckle MMA fight on 9-2? I love Dos Santos. Dos Santos would be the guy I would bet for sure. It's bare knuckle, no wrestling. I'll take Dos Santos. Victor De Jesus saying, I love Prize Picks. That's where I've been making most of my money. I ended up 12.6 units profit from this last weekend. About 11 units come from Prize Picks. Yeah, I've been having big wins on Prize Picks too, Victor. I think it's a great format. I love the layout of the site. It's easy to figure out. And, I've been having a lot of success there. I think us people that, put in a lot of work are going to find spots on Prize Picks. So it's really good. Gogo Flamingo saying, Brennan just faced a much higher level of competition. All his losses in the UFC are from very high-level jiu-jitsu guys. I'm somewhere in between the balls and the tip deep in Cody. Yeah, man, there's nothing wrong with that, dude. I mean, like, when you see somebody quit like Cedriques Dumas did, it's such a massive red flag, especially in the debut, and then, they're going to go out and make excuses about it too, of course, and say some shit that they shouldn't be saying. Yeah, man, I know Cody's in this, I know Cody is there fighting for his family. I know that he's there to win. So we'll see how it goes, but that's going to be a great fight to kick off the card. We got the flapjacks, the syrup, the butter from my man TNT. Appreciate you. The Silly Goose is in the room saying, what does the prop template say about the alternative under 2.5 rounds for Alan Silva at minus 190? Also, what are my thoughts on Macy Barber plus 3.5, minus 155, huh? So if she loses 29-28 on all three cards, she covers that. Minus 155. So it's a 61% implied probability, thereabouts. I don't mind that, plus 3.5 at minus 155, but I'm going to keep telling everybody, I think the Macy Barber bet is the finish-only prop. I don't think she's going to get finished by anybody, and I think that Amanda Ribas is chinny, and Macy Barber swings for the fucking fences, you guys. So I think that there's a possibility that Macy does get a finish here, but if she doesn't and Ribas doesn't, you get your money back. So I think it's a very safe play. Safer than the Barber plus 3.5 at minus 155. Safer than the Barber money line at plus 170. I'd love that plus 110 finish only prop for her. And then the prop template for the alternative over under minus 190 for the Brendan Allen fight. All right. So 7 of Allen's 11 fights have went under 2.5, 4 of 6 for Silva. So that's 64.71%. We're paying 65% on the line. The data would prefer the plus 126 for the under 1.5 compared to the minus 190 for the under 2.5. But it's always about cashing too, Silly Goose. So if you feel like there's still a bunch of finishing equity between the 7.5 and the 12.5 minute mark, then you go there. Then you just lay that extra 21% in implied probability. But I'd rather not. I'd rather pay 44.25%, which is only overpriced by 7% according to the benchmark, rather than 13.37% for the under 2.5, and where these numbers are a little more robust, where we're seeing that, a lot of the finishing equity, for instance, for Bruno Silva, it all comes in round 1, 3 of 6, same as under 1.5. Brendan Allen has had 3 fights finish in round 1, but he's also had 3 fights finish in the first 2.5 minutes of round 2. So I think you get a lot. There's only 1 additional fight here for Allen and only 1 additional fight here for Silva that have finished in those. So we got 9, and then it goes to 11. So I think that the under 1.5 is the better way to play this. You can wager less to win more. TH saying, how do I feel about the dogs Jenkins and Rajabov? I'm picking both of them to win, TH. I like Jenkins at the number. I think that's a very close fight. I think Emmers probably does win, to be honest with you. But I picked Jenkins to win because I wanted people to know that I wouldn't lay that juice on Emmers this week. And then Rajabov is another level of competition thing. Rajabov has fought the better level of competition, and he's always wrestling. So I know what I'm going to get out of him at plus 120, plus 130. I think that's the side against a guy like Rombeski, who we really haven't seen in there with anybody where you're like, that's a win that I can hang my hat on. I can't hang my hat on his Contender Series win. That Rodrigo Lidio guy was a complete bum. And then he beats Nick Fiore in the UFC, and that was a short notice replacement. The kid was making his debut. I think we've still got a lot more to learn about Rombeski. But with Loic Rajabov, you got a guy who's fought 5 rounds twice for $1 million, and the guy has got a 20-fight professional career, and he's never been finished. So I think we know a lot more about Loic, and I think we know that he's going to wrestle his ass off on Saturday. And Jorge saying, Jeff K, that was crazy. And Jorge saying, Molina Burner. I don't know what that means. Matt W saying, I expected Trevor Peak to be minus 300 to minus 400. Not going to lie. He must not have the name value yet. Wild. Yeah, a lot of money came in on Chepe, man. Chepe is very experienced. Chepe has been around the block. But Chepe's also been knocked out 3 times. And Trevor Peak's incredibly durable. So we're going to see how this one goes. But that's going to be a car crash. It's going to be a really fun fight. My name is Deshaun, saying, you think Tabitha Ricci only loses to strikers? That's my opinion. Well, I mean, she only lost to Manon Fiorot, and that's not really even a fair fight. Ricci took that fight on short notice to get into the UFC. Up a weight class against a supremely talented woman who's going to be fighting for the title soon. So Manon is a striker. So, that's the one that beat her. But what I don't see on Tabitha Ricci's resume is a win over anybody Jillian Robertson's category, right? Let's look at the wins for Tabitha. She's got 8 wins. Jessica Penne, who's 42 years old. Polyana Viana. Maria Oliveira. Shauna Ormsby, 2-3. Vanessa Grimes, 1-5. Kelsey Arneson, 0-0. A bunch of custom rules judo matches. And then, 1-2 and 0-0 when she started her career back in 2014. So, the win that you're hanging your hat on is without question Polyana Viana. She's the best fighter that she's beaten so far because Polyana's still young. She's still got a future in the sport, and she's got some UFC wins. But, Polyana's a guard grappler. Polyana's getting armbar subs from her back. Jillian Robertson gets on top of you, gets to your back, and chokes you out. And, the other thing that worries me here, this is the one thing that I don't think that people are seeing, right? Not only is there a level of competition difference between these ladies, but it's how they're handling the level of competition, right? Because Tabitha Ricci's beating Shauna Ormsby, who's 2-3, Vanessa Grimes, who's 1-5, right? But when she gets up to the UFC, she gets a win against Jessica Penne via submission, but she can't finish Polyana Viana. She can't finish Maria de Oliveira. Well, Jillian Robertson's got 9 UFC wins, and she's finished 8 of them. 8 of them. And these were 125-pound girls, that would be the best win on her opponent's record. Piera Rodriguez, Maria Agapova, Cachoeira, Battaglia, Casey, Frota, Macedo, McCann, Whitmire, even Hannah Cyphers and Cynthia Calvillo on the regional scene she's fighting. Hannah Goldie, she's been around. She's been doing this for a much longer time. She's bigger. She's more experienced. She's fought the better brand of competition. She's also a grappler. I think that this is going to be a grappling match, and I think whoever the better wrestler is going to wind up getting on top and winning the minutes in this fight. We got Ross is saying one last question. How do you feel about the under 65.5 significant strikes for Zhalgas? He's only gone over this 2 times, one hitting 66 exactly. We can count on Zhalgas to wrestle and control on the fence. Yeah, I don't think that's bad, actually. But the problem, Ross, with that is that if you watch Joshua Van fight, he's in very, very high-paced fights. So I could see Zhalgas landing a lot more significant strikes in this particular matchup than he would against somebody like Nicolau or Kopp, or even, like Molina would be a good fight that you would expect him to get more than those 65.5 significant strikes. That's probably the one where he got 66 was against Molina, but it's Van's pace that worries me that he will hit that number. But it's not a bad look, dude. It's not a bad look, especially if he's only gotten there once and he's been to decision so many times. Ice in the room saying, I took Tyra, Peak, Ricci, Topuria, plus 450. It's going to be an easy cash. Yeah, I like Topuria quite a bit. I like Peak quite a bit. And Tyra's easy money. And then a lot of people are very high on Tabitha Ricci. I'm just not one of them yet. She's going to have to show me. If she beats Jillian Robertson on Saturday, I'll be on Team Ricci, and I'll admit I was wrong. But I just don't think – I think Jillian's going to beat her. Thomas Kane saying Onama is a lock. He's working at Factory X now. Don't be surprised if he gets the sub. And Thomas Kane saying, I dated Tabitha Ricci in 2021. That's the most that's the biggest accomplishment I've heard in this chat ever since I've been doing this show. Tom Kane getting out there dating Tabitha Ricci. Hopefully he got some, man. But Onama's not a lock. The thing about Onama is, all right, imagine you're a young mixed martial artist and your coach bets $3 million on you, and then you lose the fight. Imagine what that's going to do to your psyche. And then your coach gets busted for fixing fights. He gets suspended. You have to change camps. You're from Uganda. Now you got to go from Kansas City, Missouri, all the way up to Englewood, Colorado. And now you're up there at a different camp, learning from different people. I don't know what Onama is going to have for us here. And Gabriel Santos is a stud. He is a stud. So if Onama pulls this off, it's going to be a hell of a bounce back. He's at a great camp now. I think that's a great move for him to go to Factory X. I know that Krause and Montoya are boys, and they've often, teamed up in corners before to corner fighters. So I know that, that's kind of like a lateral move. Going from Glory to Factory X, you're probably going to get a similar type of coaching than you were at your original gym. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. If he got the sub, that'd be something. But Moscatino, neither one of these guys has ever been finished. It's going to be a great back and forth fight. We got my guy Chris Kalanzis is in the room saying, let's stack him this weekend. Let's go. And John Barker saying, no, the fuck you didn't, Thomas Kane. Thomas is laughing. Of course I didn't. She's so bad, says John. Oh, God. Excuse me. We got Thomas saying, yup. We got Ice saying, how crazy if Ricci submits Jillian and Allen KOs Bruno Silva. Yeah, that would be something. But, we've seen Jillian sub before. Myra Bueno Silva subbed Jillian Robertson, and then Allen knocks out Bruno Silva. You remember when Allen was fighting Punahele Soriano, and everyone's like, oh, dude, Soriano with that left hand, so much power. He's going to have to take down Soriano. He doesn't even attempt to take down, and he boxed him for 3 rounds. So who knows, man? Who knows? But that would be a wild outcome. Tommy Unders is in the room. What's up, Tommy? Good to see you hanging out in here. We got Victor saying, thank you for taking your time to answer questions for us, Unc. Your time is appreciated. Appreciate you, Victor, one of the members of the Patreon, and all you guys who are on the Patreon. Like I say, I owe you a big debt of gratitude. That's the reason that I can come here to YouTube and work for free for you guys. So please consider joining that Patreon and join me in trying to get the Holm versus Silva card canceled. For the love of God. What do we do to deserve this? Nothing. Are we going to watch it? No. There will be consequences. Okay? And Gogo Flamingo saying he dated Tabitha Ricci back in 2019 before she was old with a body count. So Gogo Flamingo just, one-upped all of us, man. I appreciate all 42 of you guys for hanging out live with us today on Ask Weezy. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. Hit hit that subscribe on your way out if you haven't already. Please consider joining the Patreon and help me to try to get the Home versus Silva card canceled. And ring a ding ding. Fellow Sigma Chi, my guy Nigel Lee, aka Money Bank Lock, saying, home from work and off topic. Best DJ, Tiesto or I'm not a fan of Tiesto's music. Right now, when it comes to house music, I have been listening to Amy Watson and these two right here. These two, Flavor Trip YouTube channel, great house DJs, Amy Watson, Jimmy Harvey, kind of like some deep house, some disco-y type house. They've got channels where they're doing all kinds of mixes all over Europe. Really beautiful locales, really great music. My favorite DJs from back in the day, Miles Maida, Mark Farina, John Curley. Those were the big three for me growing up in Chicago. Those were the ones helped curate the scene. The owner of Gramophone Records, Mike Serafini, great DJ. Mike Steele, one of the great DJs here from Chicago back in the day. Yeah, it's just not Tiesto. It's just not Tiesto. That was a little bit progressive for me. I definitely like some of these jazzy, deep house music tracks. And that's basically what I have behind me is stuff that you would hear on the Flavor Trip YouTube channel. Only those records back there are about 20 years old, but they still translate today. Hey, listen, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Keep an eye out for the Greasy Four-Leg Parlay on Friday about 1 o'clock Central Time. I'll be putting that out. And then don't forget, we got to wake up early on Saturday to watch these fights. I think it's like 10:30 Central Time. So 14 fights. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Jacksonville. Enjoy this UFC on ABC card. My guy Jester is saying he misses the old B96, which they used to play, Bad Boy Bill and Brian Middleton and Julian Jumpin' Perez and all those DJs on the old B96, a Chicago classic there. And Nigel Lee saying, that is a solid channel. Already on my playlist. Also on the East Coast, rocking with Jonathan Peters, Sound Factory, NYC, 1990 to 2003. Oh, man, those are some good years for house music, dude. Especially the late 90s and early 2000s. Fantastic, fantastic years for house music, in my opinion. All right, you guys, I'm going to bounce. Have a great night. I'll be back here on Friday, and let's make some money betting on UFC Jacksonville, UFC on ABC 5. Good night, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.